Sam, and I'm making this video about the astrology sign Libra. So Libra is the masculine nature of Venus. It's an air sign, and it shows that initiation. It's that cardinal air sign where we initiate contact and communication with others. And again, it's that masculine nature of Venus, so it's where we want to spread that Venus energy in the world. So those who are Libras, in general, have this imperative to want to initiate harmonious interactions with others and bring people together. In this way, Libra is opposite Aries, where Aries is very much about the power of the individual to follow their own self-will and assertion first, and then let the chips fall where they may. Through Libra, we accommodate first, and they need to integrate more of those qualities of Aries, which is to follow our own instinct first, and then see what happens later. Libra is the sign where Venus rules the first and 8th house. This means that Venus and those qualities of Libra and their identity is to change and transform 8th house things as it relates to other people and speech, communication, yielding and accommodating others, because that's the nature of Venus, and because Libra is an air sign. So Libra people are here to change, transform, and evolve their personal relations with others as they learn to change and transform that Venus principle and to accommodate others' views, and their identity changes a lot as they learn to accommodate others and yield. Having said that, it's the place where Mars rules the 2nd and 7th houses, so they'll often get very willful, strong partners who will force them to change, and they'll tend to adopt those partners' values, because Mars rules the 7th house of partners and the 2nd house of values. This is why you'll often see Libra people adopt the values of their partners, because that's also how they change and transform their own identity through these willful, somewhat aggressive and assertive partners. So Libra is also the place where Jupiter rules the 3rd and 6th houses. So those Jupiterian qualities, which have to do with abstract thinking, high values, high philosophies, high principles, are quite difficult for Libra to harmonize and balance easily, because again, Libra is here to try to respect everyone's views, and it's very hard to accommodate everyone's strong beliefs and principles. So it becomes difficult for Libra with Jupiterian areas of life. It can get them into arguments and struggles. When Libra tries to assert their philosophies, which is Jupiter, it often comes out in a willful and assertive and aggressive way. This is how the 3rd house ruler is stressful for us usually, and it requires a lot of work and effort to maintain their philosophies and principles, and it takes a lot of service and sacrifice as well, because again, Libra is always trying to adapt to everyone else's values and everyone else's philosophies, so maintaining their own and staying on point and on principle requires a lot of service, which is the 6th house, and a lot of work and effort, which is the 6th house. Libra has a hard time with everyone's changing, confusing emotions, which again is Pisces, which falls in the 6th house from Libra. This is why it's stressful for them, because they want to say, okay, you're saying this now, I can accommodate that, and so they can adapt. But then with the Pisces area, the person doesn't know what they want. They don't know how they feel. They're always changing. It's one emotion to the next, and Libra doesn't know how to harmonize that because it's irrational emotions. This is why that 6th house from Libra, which is Pisces, requires a lot of effort and work, and it can get Libra into struggles and battles, but it requires service per the nature of the 6th house. So Libra is also the place where Saturn rules the 4th and 5th houses. So in many ways, those scales that are balancing for Libra is synonymous with Saturn energy. It's where they're harmonizing their feelings, which is the 4th house, and their thoughts and ideas and inspirations and what they might love, their own heart's desire, which is the 5th house. So this balance between, let's say, my emotions and my feelings and my desire to want to connect that with you, which is in my heart, and also what might inspire me beyond that, because again, we might have a feeling about another person and want to connect with them through the 4th house, but then maybe there's something that I want to create that doesn't have to do with you. It's that balancing of the scales between the 4th and the 5th houses that is shown by Saturn. So what this means is that Libra will often delay a decision. Big Saturn keyword. Delay, 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 until they are certain, or until they are hoping to be able to reconcile this. So typically what Libra will do in those situations is delay the situation, delay it until hopefully some external factor comes and decides it for them. This is Saturn delaying this situation where maybe they can't make everyone happy. So this is why Libra hesitates. Libra's hesitating. How you feel in the 4th house and what inspires me. Which one? Which one? Do you win or do I win? I don't know. I want us both to win. I don't know what to do, so I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. Maybe something will come. Maybe you'll decide, which is typically what happens. They'll wait so long that the other person decides, and then they're like, oh good, you decided. Now, after the other person decides, the Libra will then try to counterbalance that and say, okay, you decided this now after I delayed forever, and since you decided that, now I have to go here. Now I have to say the opposite. Libra is very contrary in that way. One of the most contrary signs. Every sign has a way of driving you crazy. This is how Libra can do it. Even though they're very, this whole idea of, they're all about balance, wanting to balance things, wanting to balance. You want to understand it's actually about unbalancing things as well. They will introduce something to create the process of balancing. And sometimes when everything is just balanced already, they'll unbalance it a little bit. They're always having to just get that thing going. That's the dialogue. That's the dialectic with the sign. So again, Saturn is the one that harmonizes the 4th and 5th houses. Eventually, Libra just needs to decide, do their best, because they're very good at managing everyone's needs and make a decision and then live with the consequences, which is big Saturn stuff. And they're actually very good at making decisions, so they should be making decisions, because they'll probably be more diplomatic than most because of Saturn showing them the consequences of their decisions and punishing them for the times when they made a mistake and when they weren't able to honor everyone's wishes. And then we go to Mercury as the ruler of the 9th and 12th houses. So the 9th house is the house of what inspires us the most, what, our philosophies, our principles, our higher inspirations. So their higher inspirations and purposes come from things that are internal, reflective. Underneath it all, Libra is can be quite an introspective sign, especially when they become very inspired. And it also shows that their inspirations, which have to do with Gemini, need to be reflected on and brought into the realm of solitude and stillness. When Libra does reflect, they can be very inspired. So they need to introspect more and follow their inspirations once they introspect. And it also shows that their philosophies are really based on things that have to do with the social world. Mercury, communication. This is why they have these philosophies of tolerance, tolerating everyone's views, being diplomatic. This is why those are very high values for the Libra, because Mercury rules the 9th house of our principles and philosophies and what inspires us, and the 12th house of introspection and letting go, which also means letting go of those philosophies that need to be let go of at any time. As you remember what I said about Jupiter, it's hard for Libra to hold on to their own philosophies as well. because they're always trying to tolerate everyone else. This is how you see that sort of conundrum that Libra is always in. Okay, the planet that rules the 9th house is Mercury, which rules the 3rd sign, right? Jupiter, which rules the 9th sign, which has naturally to do with philosophy and principle, is the 3rd house ruler, which has to do with our individual will. So Libra always has this kind of conundrum going on. So it's hard for them to maintain their own philosophies and principles, because the 9th lord is Mercury, which is always looking to interact with others. And then the indicator, or the karaka of 9th house principles, Jupiter, which is where we stick with what inspires us, rules the 3rd house of looking for variety. So they need to introspect and use a lot of discrimination about their values and about what inspires them. Then the moon rules the 10th house of their duties and responsibilities. One reason Libra will change jobs a lot and change their duties and responsibilities a lot is because the moon rules the 10th house. So they're always trying to make sure that their duties and the responsibilities feel good to them, because it's ruled by the moon, and the moon changes a lot. So it's another bit of a conundrum for Libra they have, is our work and our pressure and our duties usually benefit most when we're not necessarily driven by feeling good all the time. So because they have the moon as a 10th house ruler, they're always trying to calibrate how their duties and responsibilities feel. And, you know, as I say many times, they don't feel so good. And so then they want to change and try to find a place where they have their sort of comfort zone. They need to be careful about, like, mommying people at work and things like that. But this is why Libra changes jobs a lot. They're trying to make their duties and responsibilities feel good. And finally, the sun rules the 11th house of large groups of people, culture, society. This is why their deepest power and drive and what really motivates them on the deepest kind of soul level, which is always where the sign of Leo falls, is the 11th house. Large groups, a sort of communal, universalized identity. They really see themselves as a universal being, and they're trying to connect with that power of the sun to bring us all together. And this is why even through their ruling planet, which rules the 1st and the 8th house, Venus is trying to universalize their identity. So they're constantly changing and sort of destroying their own identity as they interact and adapt to others. But in the midst of that, there's a lot of self-awareness and self-identity that's getting worked through, that they need to learn how to honor their own needs and connect with their own principles first before they try to compromise and adapt to everybody else, because often their adaptations and their accommodations are as much about their own personal frustration and lack of confidence and lack of identity and lack of conviction than anything else. This is why Libra can appear to and also literally be kind of shallow at times and kind of frivolous and just wanting attention and wanting that sort of thing. It's like a substitute for their own inner conviction.